Welcome to the OSU Roundup. Robert Allen filling in for Dave Hunziker, who's off celebrating with one of his classmates at Mizzou, going into a Hall of Fame. And we're, of course, with Cowboys head coach Mike Gundy coming off the 34-27 win over TCU. And, Coach, I know the story's been told over and over again, but you know what? It's such a good story. Let's tell it again. Team goes through a lot of adversity, loses some of their teammates, some of the ones they cherish and have shared the most success with. And they got to find a way to make up for it, and by gosh, they did.
Great life lessons. And I said after the game that this win was as gratifying for me, selfishly, as a win in a long time, based on what happened to us in the middle of the week. It's really gut-wrenching for a coach when you lose a player in basically half-speed drills. Yeah. Sometimes it happens in the off-season when we're scrimmaging, and it's hard to take, but at least it's in a live drill. We had some really unusual things happen with three guys. Tylen is a guy that everybody talks about, but Johnny Wilson and Trey Sterling, all three guys have been really good football players for us this year. So it was unusual how it happened. And we've created a culture here, you know, you've been with us all these years, that it's a team sport. It is the greatest team sport there is, and no one player or coach can disrupt the flow if we have the culture and things in place like that need to be. And so you tell them that as a coach or as a head coach, because
I hope they believe it.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
And I joke with the assistant coaches because they can do their work and go in their office and do all their film studies, and I got to talk to the team all the time. You know, I'm the guy that has to say, hey, look, it's okay. This thing's something we need to correct. So the Iowa State win, I said, hey, I'm glad it worked out, because I said, just keep your head down and just work hard, work harder. Well, in this week, when the unfortunate injuries, you bring them together and say, look, I fully expect us to play well and win this football game without these three players. You don't know how many of them are looking at you like, Coach, have you lost your mind? And sometimes maybe even assistant coaches, because they get into that part of it so much. So it was very gratifying. And the one interesting thing with the quarterback, he didn't flinch at all. And for a quarterback who has a receiver like Tylen, he just kept going, you know, and had a great attitude. I think that helped. We could push it on to Stoner, who can play the position essentially without even practicing it. Mm-hmm. That helps. And then other guys make plays. Certainly that Chuba was able to step up and get big runs. And then 77, he comes in, and Bray comes back in, 78, and those guys play pretty good. And then Rye plays center.
Right.
He did it last year, and we played good. He was able to step in and play good in this game against, in my opinion, the best defense that we faced up until this point. And then on the other side of the ball, Trey Sterling has been our defensive player of the year, I know probably 3 times already up to this point, and has really been a good football player for us at a pivotal position where you have a lot of eye violation, run pass if you're not careful. Mm-hmm. His situation might have been a little scarier than anybody's, but they don't talk about it.
Tanner McAllister and Taylor, the young man from Carl Albert, your neck of the woods.
Those guys came in and played well, and it's tough. You know, it's tough as coaches, but you got to stay the course, and you got to rely on your system and your culture, and so it worked out well for our team.
You know, people don't realize this, but there are a couple of times during the week that you're alone with the team. Like you said, the assistant coaches aren't there. The two I know about are the travel squad meeting, which you do on Thursday nights, and then right before you start the walk, there's a head coaches meeting. It's just you and the players. You took another one during practice Wednesday after all this happened. How critical are those moments for you to connect with the guys, like you talked about, probably even more so this week?
You know, it's interesting you bring that up, because as a head coach, I've done this a long time now, I worry about, do I talk to them too much, and when's it important? Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's almost like parenting. You know, if you really want to get your point across, then you need to use that time. But if you yell or do things all the time, they turn you off. So Thursday nights, I spend time with them. I give them my opinion on what has to happen for us to be successful on Saturday. Well, Wednesday's practice, we had the issue with Trey, and then we had what I would call traumatic issue with Tylen because there's sound involved when a guy goes down, and it it sends a panic over everybody when they hear a player kind of make a sound. So one, it's bad, and two, they don't like that. And then 4 minutes later, the same thing goes on at the other end with Johnny Wilson. Yeah. So you could hear a pin drop in that indoor. We're inside because of the weather. So we're all inside. Everybody can hear it. It echoes in the arena. And it was one right after the other. So both guys are over there, and our medical staff is tending to him. So I'm up in the tower, and I'm seeing this happen, and guys are filtering over one at a time to see and check on the players during practice. So they've already lost their focus. Right. Focus is a big part of our organization. So I come down the tower, bring them all together in the middle. We still had about 40 minutes left to practice. I said, guys, look, here's the deal. Unfortunately, this is what happens. Okay, we're going to take good care of them, and I'm very appreciative that you care about your team enough to go over and talk to them. You got to go back to work. Okay, we'll take good care of them. You can see them after practice. But right now, I need you to go back to work. I need you to focus. We can't afford to waste this 40 minutes in order to get ready to play TCU. You have to suck it up. These are great life lessons for you. You got to go practice. So then I went all the way back up in the tower, and they practiced pretty well from that point moving forward. And then the next day, I thought they were okay. So, but you never know as a coach.
Right.
You just don't know. You just try to do what you think's best, and you don't flinch. And you just keep rolling.
A lot of heroes in the TCU game. I mean, everybody from the punter, and then of course Chuba gets noticed the most. So that's a great team win. Everybody can look in the mirror. Kanian Williams on coverage, all the guys on special teams, the deep snapper, Amendola. You mentioned Spencer, the offensive line. I mean, there wasn't anybody didn't contribute.
Well, it was a great team win. Special teams wise, we had a plan to not let one beat us returning the football. Our protections were good, our coverage was good, our punts were good. I think he had one return for 6 yards, and he just got hungry. He really should have fair caught that ball. Guys did a good job with him. Dola was good on the long field goal at the end. Defensively, we were able to limit them big plays wise for touchdowns. We got out of our lane in a pass rush and gave the quarterback a 50-yard run. Gave up a double move to number one that we shouldn't. And we gave up 2 pass plays down in the red zone on vertical routes that we need to improve on. But we didn't give up big plays for touchdowns, and we forced turnovers. Chuba had the big day, but that was instigated by our guys blocking our schemes up front pretty dang well against really good interior players on defense. And then the quarterback was able to rush the ball in the first quarter, which loosened things up for Chuba. So it was a great team effort altogether. We had good plans in all 3 phases, and the players were able to go out and execute.
All right, no game this coming Saturday. Kansas is on the horizon. It's an open week. When we come back, we'll ask Coach Mike Gundy what's important to accomplish during this open week as we continue here on the OSU Roundup with Mike Gundy. Stay with us.
Now that's crisp.
Crisp taste, brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light.
ADM milling is really a part of the fabric of the Enid community. So if we were to have lost them, it would have been more than the 70 jobs that they employ.
OG&E, the City of Enid, and the Enid Regional Development Alliance were all great to work with. Not only does it allow for the growth of the new mill, but also the power is there to make that happen for the future.
Living with joint pain. Take the first step at mercy.net/cowboysortho.
Welcome back to the OSU Roundup. Again, Robert Allen filling in for Dave Hunziker with the Cowboys head coach Mike Gundy. This is rarity, a second open week during a season. Won't happen next year. Although I know you like the open week coming right after the non-conference games next year. It'll be a little more centralized for your schedule. But this is kind of an advantage. Late open week before the last 3 regular season games. You come into it with momentum. What gets done this week?
We're going to work really hard with our young players and try to rest the veteran guys. They'll get some work, but more so developing our players that haven't gotten to play as much in the games. We've done more of that this year than ever. We've continued to work, as we call them at times, the threes throughout the season in team period and in inside drill and 7-on-7. We normally don't do that. We've tried to put more into those players. I think it's benefiting us, and so we'll work them really hard and then work them again during bowl prep. The other guys need to recover, even though it's just been 3 weeks since we had one. We've played
a trying 3 weeks.
It has been. I mean, it's been really good teams.
Yeah.
Those teams are very capable of beating anybody in this league. So it was a good push for us, and it was a good run. So we'll get some work done with the young guys and get the veteran guys a little bit of rest, and then come back and go at it the week prior to the Kansas game.
So no game for the Cowboys coming up on Saturday. It'll be a couple of weeks. We'll get Kansas here into Stillwater. 11 a.m. kickoff with the Kansas Jayhawks. Great sports week. Basketball's getting started. Congratulations to soccer. They'll be back in Kansas City. The regular season champs getting ready for the semifinals. They'll take on Kansas on Friday. And then also the cross-country team. The women finish first. They collect a Big 12 championship. The men finish as the runner-up on that side. So good cross-country season. They advance into postseason as well. So big week for sports. And, of course, the Cowboys with a big win over TCU. For head coach Mike Gundy, I'm Robert Allen.
Get up, Cowboys. It's time to come together and save lives on campus during the annual Bedlam Blood Battle. Together, we're on a mission to save 750 lives during the week of November 18th through the 22nd. The locations include a Bloodmobile at the Student Union, the College of Human Science building, or a Bloodmobile at Kerr Drummond. All donors will receive a one-of-a-kind Bedlam shirt and additional offers. Visit OBI on social media for more information.